really do care. In Jesus' name, amen. One of the things we see every year when we come to this time, the Christmas time, is how God keeps His promises. God always keeps His promises. And God had promised to the prophet Daniel when Christ would come. And Daniel was concerned, and Daniel was worried because he was taking 70 years and got a vision of 2,300 days and a day for a year. And he's thinking, wow, we're going to be captive a long, long time. But then it says that there was time cut off for him and his people, and in the midst of the week, that the Messiah would come. And as they followed through those prophecies, Israel realized that the time was at hand, and the country was excited, and people were praying for a deliverer. You see, we're not the only ones that have problems. We're not the only ones that have burdens. We're not the only ones that feel life is hard. And they were waiting. They had a promise that the Messiah was coming. We have a promise that the Messiah is coming. We believe that Jesus is coming again soon, and we believe the time is near. And they waited and they waited, and they were praying. There's one couple, one of the priestly family. Zachariah and Elizabeth were righteous in God's eyes, careful to obey all of the Lord's commandments and regulations. And they had no children because Elizabeth was unable to conceive. And they were both very, very old. They had a burden in their lives. Everybody was waiting for the Messiah, and all of the ladies in Israel were hoping it would be through them. And if you could not have a child, it was a terrible burden for the family. And Elizabeth was barren. But it tells us that they were faithful. It tells us they had no child, but they were still faithful. They were righteous in God's eyes, careful to obey all of God's commandments. They were very old, but they had not given up their faith. Sometimes we go a couple of weeks and God doesn't answer our prayer, and we're ready to give up. But they were not. They were faithful. They had prayed for years and years and years. I know when I was out of the church, my mother prayed for many years. She prayed for many years. She did not give up. Parents, don't give up for your children. When God doesn't seem to answer your prayers, don't give up. Don't give up. Keep praying. They kept praying, and they were faithful. They were righteous in the eyes of God. They kept keeping the commandments, even though their prayers had not been answered. Even though it appeared that God was not listening, they knew that the time was close, and they were going to be faithful. It reminds me of somebody else. There was 3 worthies that were faithful. Is that true? Remember them? They weren't waiting a long time. They had a short time. I mean, the command was given, and they were supposed to bow, and they did not bow. And Nebuchadnezzar says, we're going to throw you in the fiery furnace. I'm going to give you one more chance. They said, okay, you don't need to give us another chance. We made up our minds a long time ago when we serve God. When you serve God, you make up your mind to follow what God says. When you serve God, when you make a decision to follow God, it doesn't matter. You can't pick and choose what part of you want to follow God. Whether it's to the tithe, whether it's to the Sabbath, or whether, no matter what it is, whether it's faithfulness and not stealing, whatever the command is, honor your parents, whatever God asks, we're faithful to, because we made that decision when we accepted Him. I don't have to decide every payday, do I pay my tithe this week? I don't ask this if it's convenient. It's God's money. I'm returning it to Him. I don't have to ask every time an attractive woman walks by, am I going to be faithful to my wife? I made a decision first when I accepted God, and second when I accepted my wife. It's not a as-is basis. And the 3 worthies, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, said, King, you don't have to give us another chance. When we accepted God, we made a decision to be faithful. And our God is able to deliver us. But even if He doesn't, we're going to be faithful. The king says, oh yeah? Now we can. That's why I chop people all up in pieces. But he was so mad he didn't have time to chop. He just threw them in the fire. Killed the soldiers and threw them in. And God was faithful. But they said, even if not. God is always faithful. He always wins, but he delivered them. But I think of that, and Zechariah and Elizabeth are there, and they're praying, and their prayers aren't answered. But they had made a commitment, and they gave their heart to God to be faithful no matter what. Even if not. Even if God doesn't, I'm going to be faithful. Some of us need to make that commitment again. Some of us need to remember our vows to Jesus Christ, because God is always faithful to us. God knows better than we know. Just because he doesn't answer our prayers the way we want our prayers answered doesn't mean we give up on God. They were faithful. Even if God doesn't answer our prayers, they're serving him. They're serving through their whole life, and they were very old. They were very old. Do we serve God even through the ignorance in our life? Do we serve God even when our prayers don't get answered, even when our expectations are not met? And it is said of us, when we get very old, that we've been very faithful. That we've been very faithful. They were well stricken in years, and everybody knew their problem, and the whole town knew. In fact, all the priesthood knew, and all Jerusalem knew that there seemed to be a problem in their life, and they had a heavy burden, and everybody's mentioning this, and it's, it's one of those things you can't get away from. When people know something, they talk about it. And so, Zacharias and Elizabeth, they can't get away from this. Everybody's, it's adding to their burden. People are reminding them. You still know about it. Now they're old and are so sorry and are empathizing with them. And people are continuing to bring it up, and it's weighing on them. Some of our problems that we have, when people bring them up to us, it just reminds us of our problems, doesn't it? People ask us, and it continually reiterates in us that there's a problem in our life. It wasn't just back in the days of the New Testament or the days of the Old Testament. I mean, even today, we have problems that are pretty heavy. We have burdens that we carry and burdens that we've dealt with, and some of us for many years. And they kept these burdens for their whole life. It says there were no children. They were both very old. Both very old. When we think about that, I think, what are our problems? What are the problems that we face? It says they were good people, but they still had problems. Just because you serve God doesn't mean your problems go away. They were good people, but they had problems. They had a lifetime of problems, and one major problem. Sometimes we have problems in our hearts and in our life that we think won't go away. And sometimes they weigh us down, and we're afraid we're going to die with this problem. We're afraid that whatever it is we're dealing with will be for the rest of our life. And sometimes we come to that resignation mode, where we say, all right, God, I have to deal with this the rest of my life. I'll deal with it. I mean, I know what it was like with the cancer. We all have different things that we deal with. We all have different things in our life and different burdens. Sometimes you've got a lot of burdens with you. Maybe it's financial, maybe it's family. I mean, there's people in this church I know that are dealing with family issues. There's people that are dealing with financial issues. People dealing with job issues and health issues. There's so many burdens that weigh us down. But we need to look to God. Don't let your burdens eclipse your blessings. Don't let your burdens eclipse your blessings. Remember to look at your blessings. Count what God has done instead of looking at the things that you're worried about. Because God has brought many blessings into our lives. So don't let your burdens overwhelm you. Don't let them overburden you when you have a God that answers. And we look, starting in verse 8. And one day, Zechariah was serving God in the temple, where his duty was in order, as was the custom. He was chosen to enter the law. When he entered the sanctuary, an angel of the Lord appeared to him, standing at the right of the incense. Zechariah was shaken and overwhelmed with fear when he saw him, but the angel said, "Don't be afraid, Zechariah. God has heard your prayer. Your wife Elizabeth will give you a son, and you are to name him John. Today was the day for Zechariah to start rejoicing. Sometimes God comes to us, and sometimes God answers our prayers, and we're not ready. Even though we've prayed for things, God goes to answer the prayer, and we're like, really? And we don't accept, and we don't appreciate what God is doing. But God answers, and He lifts our burdens. He said, blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. He promises to comfort. He promises to lift. Sometimes it takes a fiery furnace. Sometimes it takes a test of faith. Sometimes it takes a delayed answer to our prayer before we're willing to understand where our relationship with God really is. Sometimes we think we have everything down, and we're feeling righteous like Zechariah and Elizabeth, and we're that way faithful for years, but we don't understand our true character when it comes to God. Because when God came to answer the prayer, Zechariah said, how can I trust you? Outwardly he'd been faithful, but when the time came, he said, how do I know what you're saying is true, God? Do we trust God no matter what? Are we willing to accept when He answers our prayer? God came to fill the emptiness in our heart, to satisfy the longing. You see, it was an ordinary day, and it had been preceded by an ordinary day. When God came, Zechariah was doing things as usual. And you may pray for a long time. Excuse me. You may pray for a long time. Every day may seem like every other day, and every day may be an ordinary day to you. But God comes to us in ordinary days. And He changes those ordinary days. And it may be ordinary circumstances. You may be carrying on your ordinary duties. You may be doing things as usual. But God shows up in our life. Are we ready when He shows up? Are we ready when He shows up? Just because it's an ordinary day, just because it seems like it's always been, doesn't mean that God doesn't change things. Are we prepared when God steps in? We believe that God is coming very soon. Will we be ready? Or are we going to say everything is going on like it's always been? Are we going to say it's just another ordinary day, there's no great thing, and then we hear the trumpet sound? Are we going to get so caught up in the usual that we're not prepared for the unusual? Zechariah was not prepared for the answer to his prayer. He prayed and he prayed, and he got used to not hearing from God, and when God acted, he wasn't ready. Would we be ready if Jesus came today? Would we be ready if our prayers were answered? We can look all through the Bible, and we see that people that were facing every day with a burden, every day they went to normal day. Look at Bartimaeus, the blind guy. Every day he went through his routine, didn't he? Every day he's out there. But one day Jesus showed up. One day, a couple hours before, everything was the same. All of a sudden, Jesus showed up. And he was changed. What about the leper? The leper is out there. He's got leprosy every day. It's been the same. I'm unclean, I'm unclean, I'm unclean. And then one day, Jesus showed up. One day, God showed up in his life. Look at Zacchaeus up in the trees, used to taking money, and every day he's out collecting taxes. One day, Jesus shows up. And Zacchaeus gets up in the tree so he can see Jesus, and Jesus comes to his house and changes his life. We see case after case after case of when Jesus shows up in ordinary people's days, in ordinary people's lives, that their life is changed and altered. And sometimes we think we're just ordinary people. They were just ordinary people. But their life was changed when Jesus showed up. Are we ready for Jesus to show up in our life? It tells us that God lifts burdens in the mind. And He's willing to lift your burden. Whatever burden you may have, whatever problem is overwhelming you, whatever it is that's holding you down, whatever it is that weighs you during the day, Jesus is willing to come to you and take your burden, cast your burdens upon Him, He says. We need to go to Jesus. and trust Jesus. Not only do I see they had a burden, not only do I see that Jesus lifted that burden, but I see that the burden was lifted. Not only was the burden lifted, but the blessing was much more than the burden. God has a way of doing that. Satan gives you a problem, and God out-blesses the problem. Have you noticed that? When we went through the cancer, we didn't know if we were going to live or not. We never knew the night when we see the morning. But next weekend, next Sabbath, we're going to be baptizing one of the ladies from the cancer center, another lady from the cancer center. We baptized her mother a few months ago. Next Sabbath, we're going to be baptizing a lady named Leanne. And she's one I see every day. She was there. She was the main doctor's basically right hand. She kind of unofficially ran the whole place. And she was the one that coordinated everything. So we got to spend time with her, and her mother had been praying. She said, I'm sorry you got cancer, but we've been praying that God would send somebody to help us understand the Bible. We went through the cancer. Her mother, Diane, was baptized. This next Sabbath, we will be baptized. What a blessing. What a blessing. When you see somebody give their heart to Christ, and you see the blessing of, this is something that counts for eternity. The cancer had me down for a year and a half, something like that. What is that compared to eternity? What is that when you look at what God is doing in somebody's heart, in somebody's life, and you look at the blessings He's given us even in that time? We feel much more. I would not go back and go without the cancer and give up the people we've had and been able to see come to Jesus. I would rather go through what I've gone through than trade that experience, because the blessing far outweighs the burden. Zechariah and Elizabeth received the promise, and that little baby, they had been faithful. Now they're very old. It says, can you imagine how you held the baby in your arms? All the pains of childbirth disappeared out there when you're holding that baby. And you think about that, and you go, wow, very old. She forgot about all the years where she didn't have a baby. Zacharias forgot about all the years when he didn't have a son, and they're holding that baby. In their hearts, I imagine they felt young again. In their hearts, they're just young parents, and they're holding that baby. But the promise is they don't just have a baby. Look what they had. They had the forerunner to the Messiah. They had the forerunner to the Messiah. It was a greater blessing. They had asked for a baby that they could show their love. They had asked for one they could see. They had asked for one who their memory would keep alive. But look what they got. They got a young child who still remembered. We still know the name of their son. Their legacy is still carried on today. When Zacharias and Elizabeth see Jesus, when He comes, when He's resurrected, they get to heaven, and they see all the people that John the Baptist pointed towards Christ. All the people that are there because of what their son did. That's a blessing they would not have had. They would not trade those years of being childless to go back. Their prayer was answered. Multitudes came to hear. It was a forerunner of Christ. The angel came to visit. And then Jesus came to visit. And He dwelt in the tabernacle among us. I don't think that Elizabeth and Zacharias would change anything in their life. I don't know what your burden is. I don't know what you feel your area of defeat is. I don't know what it is that every day when you get up, you say, not again. Or not still. I don't know what it is that weighs you down. But I do know that we have a God that is bigger than that problem. And I do know that we have a God that no matter how long you've carried that problem, promises victory. He promises to lift that burden. He promises to give you a life. He promises to outlast whatever burden you can carry. So don't let the burden eclipse the salvation. As we look at the time of year in which we're looking at, and thinking about Christ and how he came to save us, that means you, not just us. He came to save you, and he came to deliver you, and he came to lift your burdens, your problems, and your discouragements. He came for you personally. You can ask for a better gift than that. He wants to outbless you more than you've ever been blessed in the past. No matter how long you've carried the burden, he wants the future to be bright and filled with hope. Let's pray. Father, we thank you so much. Life without you would be so discouraging, be so hopeless. We thank you for coming and lifting our burdens. If they haven't been lifted yet, we look to that time through faith, knowing they will be lifted. And you will help us. Help us to never let go of your promises and our hope in you. No matter how dark the day or how long the night, to always look up and see Jesus. In Jesus' name, amen. We will see you, I think it's in a couple more.